Alrighty, everyone. So, thank you for joining me today on this trade recap / live trading. I'm showing you. I was recording my screen earlier today as I was doing my trade setup for the morning for my 8:30 midnight, and I forgot to add the audio. So I was over here talking away, and everything was recording on my screen, but not the audio. So I had to download the video, and then now I'm just doing the playback here, which is actually good because I'm just going to skip right through a lot of the things that I was waiting on here. But this is, I'm going to go ahead and hit play here on this recording. So I started talking about what I do in the morning. My 8:30 midnight strategy is my kind of like my go-to daily. I usually take a max 2 trades for the day. If you saw my previous video, Monday I took more than 2 trades, and that's why things were a disaster. So I didn't follow my plan. I wasn't disciplined. So today I said, you know what? No matter what, when I started this channel, from here on out, I'm taking my setup in the morning. If I lose, then I go to the next one. And that's it. I only take 2 trades a day. So my 8:30 midnight, if you remember, this is a methodology that I've come up with all the back testing that I've done. I've learned to see patterns. And let me tell you, I've back tested this strategy for the past year. And there's a very high win rate with this strategy as I am explaining it to you. And I'm going to create another video after this, but just to show you how that strategy works. But what I want to show you here is that with the 8:30 midnight, the way midnight is, you see how midnight here is, it's right there, right? And so midnight is going to be above the 8:30 open, because 8:30 is down there, as you can see. And so there's 2 scenarios for this. If the 8:30 opening closes above the open, then I take a buy. If the 8:30 open closes below the opening, then I sell. And I'm going to fast forward there to right now so you can see. I'm going to kind of like move this along. Let me see if I can move it. Yeah, here we go. So I'm going to move this along to about minute 5, which is right when I get into the trade. And so I saw that it closed below the 8:30 open, and I took the sell. Now, why did I take the sell? And what helps me determine if I should take it or not? So if you look at the 3 moving averages that I have on here, I have the green line is the 50 moving average, exponential moving average. The blue line is the 100, and the 200 is the one down here, the 200 exponential. So usually when the 200 is above the 100 and the 50, that means that the market is mostly going to go down. For the most part, right? Nothing is an exact science. And when it's below like this, it means that the market's going to go up. Or that's my bias, I should say. Not that it's going to, it's more my bias. But there's something here that I didn't take into account, is that the 50 moving average is below the 100. So that kind of like throws you off. That can throw you off, right? And that could be that maybe the bias might be going up. It might come down, right? And so on and so forth. We never know for a certainty, but what I learned today on this trade is that from here on out, I have to be willing to only take trades when all 3 align properly, whether it be sell bias or buy bias. And I took a loss today, right? So as you can see on the right, it's my Tradeify account with Tradeovate, and I risk 1 contract, and on my paper trading, I risk 2. And again, I'm a big proponent of paper trading. I really like practicing these strategies. And again, I've tested this, and I posted on X, and, below is my X, channel. But, this month alone, I have a month to date, I have a 78% win rate. And so my paper trading account, I just got this Tradeify account this week, this Monday. So that's why I'm not counting this. But what I do every month is I make believe like I'm starting a new prop challenge at the beginning of the month, usually like 2,000 to 2,500 in drawdown. And I take the trades, and then, if I blow the account, I start all over again. But usually I'll let the month play out and see where I'm at the end of the month, right? And that's how I forward test my strategies. So as of today, this strategy has netted me $5,100, so $5,105 to be exact, and I have a 78% win rate. Taking some days I took 1 contract, some days I took 2 NQ. And the first week of July, I had a 75% win rate. Last week I had 80%, and then this week I now have an 80%. So I'm gonna fast forward this to the next portion, but I'll make a note here, and I'll show you after I finish this commentary on this trade, is that this has given me a very high win rate, this strategy. And again, I don't see a lot of people talking about it, and that's okay. I don't want people to know about it. But now that it's on YouTube, I'm going to mention it because I'm fully transparent with my trading strategies. And this is my edge. For me, this is my edge. Now, today I lost, and later on I'm going to, in the video, you will hear commentary on my next strategy that I took. But, I took a loss today on this first strategy. But moving forward now, I'm going to make it a note to make sure that these exponential moving averages align properly. And, when that happens, I'll take a trade. And then if not, then I will wait it out and maybe not trade that strategy. Maybe I will. It all depends. You gotta take everything with a grain of salt. So I will, pause the video here, and then I'll show you where the trade ended up. Alrighty, everyone. I'm back again. It is 9:32, and I am moving on to the orb strategy. As I mentioned before, I took a loss this morning at my 8:30 midnight setup, and if I lose, that's fine. But I take 1 to 2 trades a day, depending on how I do in the first one. So if the first one I win, I call it a day and close up shop. If I lose that first trade, then I'll move on to a second trade. And if I lose that, then I'll just stop trading for the day. So in my prop account, I'm down 400 for today. And look, the way I look at these prop accounts is I try to pass them as quickly as possible. And then once I pass them, I do change my risk management strategy. And so, in the prop account that I'm doing right now with Tradeify, as you saw yesterday, I am down. I'm probably down now, I think $500. So I have about 1,500 left in daily draw down. But they do have a daily loss max, which is 1,200. So, again, everyone's got an opinion about this, and oh, you should risk 1% or this, that, and the third. Look, guys, risk whatever you want to risk. It's your account. Do what makes you feel happy. Again, these are prop accounts. So look, I only paid I think it was $60 for this prop account for today. Not today, but to do this challenge. And if I pass it, then I pass it. If I don't pass it, then I just wasted $60. But, and I add that to my taxes for the end of the year as a expense, right, for the business. But anyways, I'm waiting here for the orb strategy. And I'm just looking at price action. But as we're waiting here, I wanted to mention a few things. When I talk about, indicators and, other, people want to be told when to buy, when to sell, and all these other things. And look, maybe in the beginning that might seem like a nice tool to have. I certainly took advantage of that in the beginning of my trading journey. But I noticed very quickly that relying solely on indicators and where to buy, where to sell, to me was one of the worst things you can do as a trader, because what was happening was I was relying too much on these signals, and I wasn't taking the time to look at the market for what it was and really educate myself. So I started to gravitate towards ICT concepts and to really understand, levels of liquidity, fair value gaps. And look, there's tons of video out there on this. I'm not the best educator when it comes to those things. I will let you, do the research. If you're going to do research on fair value gaps and liquidity levels, I suggest you watch videos like Arjo, Liam Merrill's. He's another good ICT. He's actually, one of his strategies is the one I use as well. But that strategy doesn't really come around too often. When it does, I try to take advantage of it if I'm able to. But really, this concept of areas of liquidity, sessions high, session lows, fair value gaps, all of these things, they play an important role in the market and how price action moves. And one of the things that I recommend definitely also is like order flow. Now, again, this channel's not for strategies. I'm just giving you some of the tools that I use. Maybe you have different tools. Maybe you want to not use those tools, right? You have the right to use what you want. But whenever I'm doing anything other than my 8:30 to midnight strategy, let's say, for example, like right now I'm doing orb. I look at Bookmap. Now, I had a subscription with Bookmap. Man, it was totally confusing to set things up. I really didn't like it. I also did not like how clunky it was, and their web version was the worst, right? So you had to physically download the program, and and this is not good for me because since I have a full-time job, I have a work computer. I can't download programs onto my work computer. And so I rely solely on web-based applications. And so I got to digging around YouTube, and I found this channel on YouTube that actually live feeds Bookmap, and it has all the features that you would want. So I'm going to show you real quick while we're waiting here on the orb. It's 9:38. But I follow this channel. It's called Order Flow Stream. I suggest you definitely follow them because, as you can see, look at it. It gives you everything you need in Bookmap to understand order flow. If you don't understand order flow, just know that this is a very crucial aspect of my trading. Whenever I don't do the 8:30 midnight strategy, I focus on order flow. And as I'm doing the orb, I look and see, okay, where is price going? And Again, this is not a tutorial Bookmap. I'm not here to promote Bookmap, but I'm not an affiliate. I don't get paid by them. This is not a sponsorship. But I think that looking at these areas, so if you look at, for example, like you see this red area here, this area right there, really, it shows the areas in which there's orders there. So this area where there's really red, these are what's considered, either stop buys or take profit from people who are sold up there, and now it's coming down. So it doesn't tell you like what type of order it is, but you can make the assumption that these are stop orders or limit orders, I should say. It could be a stop loss for someone who's buying, right? So as you see price moving up, right, someone must have put their stops somewhere around here. So this is an area of interest. So if you see, this is what 23,255. When I go back to my book, my chart on, I mapped out this area, 23,255. This is not an approximate science, but I mapped out this area as an area where there's stop losses or orders to buy limit, right? Limit orders. And so I can't remember now the guy who I saw on YouTube, but he talked about, you want to buy where people place their stops. And so I've taken this approach, and I'm seeing kind of like these levels. Like look it up here, for example, right? Up here in 23,320. If you see, these are probably either take profit orders or sell limit orders. It could be either one. But there is activity up here. There's activity up here. And if you look at on the right side here where it says COB in this area right here, that's the current order book. So this tells you how many orders are waiting at those specific levels. Now I can't zoom in and I can't get a little bit more granular, but these are the orders that are at these levels. Now it doesn't tell me which orders are which, but there are buy orders right now in this area, whether it be a stop or a limit order. And so where price tends to move, as you know, smart money concepts, big institutional investors, they need liquidity in order to get what they want. Remember, the big institutions, they control the market. I don't care what anyone says, but the market is definitely manipulated by these big institutions. So you don't want to be on the wrong side of that. And it happens. That's just the reality. Us retail traders, we're going to get enticed into, buying when we're not supposed to buy and selling when we're not supposed to sell. And so what Bookmap does, it gives us a little bit of a sneak peek into what's out there in the market. And so when I look at this, I say, okay, well, I want to be a buyer right here. I truly want to be a buyer because if it comes down here, only two scenarios can happen. It's either it's going to bounce off of this and go back up, right? So it can bounce off of this area and shoot back up, or it can go down, right? It's only two options. But if you start to analyze this, where you'll really get to see kind of how order flow works is once price hits this area, you can make the decision, okay, if it's going to continue lower, that means when I look at, this side over here, these are bars, right? I think these are 3-minute or 2-minute time frames. I don't know what time frame they're using for these, but it's definitely not like 5 minutes or 1 minute. It's not that for sure. But for example, if you see that that this area got taken up and it doesn't continue lower, that means that it is done, right? Smart money got their liquidity and now they're going to shoot price back up again. So I'm going to go on that ride now up until these levels here. But if you see that price continues, past these red areas, then that tells you, okay, then I should probably either wait, right? And you see, because you don't want to sell here. This is already too low. But again, people are going to get induced by smart money and, and they're going to take them to the cleaner. So, yeah, so this is a real good tool that I use, to kind of help me map out what I should expect. And look, now if we go back to Bookmap, see, I can't see past 23, 225. So 23, 225 is right around here, right? What's below that? If you can see on my area, on my trading view, there's a huge fair value gap right there, huge one, and so if price were to eat this area up right here, I will conclude that the next area of liquidity that it wants to take is this area right here, is this fair value gap, at least to go tap it. So my analysis is the orb strategy. So the 15-minute candle has already concluded. We already have our two levels here, which is perfectly working right now. I conclude that it's going to come down here for liquidity, because you got to remember, so this candle, this 915 candle already took out the London high. So that area of liquidity is done. It already took out the previous all-time high. It swept it. So you see this wick? It swept this. It took this liquidity. It took this area of liquidity. This long wick took that area of liquidity. So I can't predict, I cannot foresee this going higher than that all-time high. I don't know. And maybe it will. But if you had to guess between going at the all-time high or going to these areas of liquidity, this area here and this fair value gap down here, I will be safe. All right, so I'm back here, and man, everything happened so quickly. Didn't get a chance to show you in the setup, but pretty much look at what's happened here very quickly. As you can see, price went way up and came down. It touched the area of liquidity, and although the candle didn't close, but it's about, let me see, 10 seconds left. It's going to close below that, so I decided just to go in right below that area of liquidity to get tagged in. And yeah, it's moving pretty fast here. And as you can see, I got in on a pretty good level, because if I would have waited for it to close, I would have gotten down here. So I was able to get a couple ticks above. But yeah, I put this little sell side liquidity line over here because I was looking left, and this is also an area of liquidity, but how important that level is, we'll see. I really think that this area, the fair value gap below, where I'm going to be taking profit, I think that's where the area of most important is. Let me put my stop here so I don't forget. But yeah, we're just going to let this ride. And, as I walk through this trade, again, what I mentioned before, I really couldn't see price move up past its all-time high. There's nothing to aim for. So I don't think even institutional traders are going to, even though they're the ones that control the market, I don't think that they're going to, because they depend a lot on the retail traders to give them liquidity. So I don't think that they're going to put price all the way up there. A lot of retail traders are probably not going to get in on a trade there. So again, it just makes more sense to bring price down, go to this area of liquidity. Again, guys, this is not an analysis of, trading styles or anything like that. I just want to show you kind of rationales as to what is possible. But really, all of this to me, like when I talk about trading with intentions, what are your why? What's your why? Why are you trading? Why do you want to make this money? Right? All these things have to go through your head because, like right now, I'm not going to touch this trade. I'm just going to let it play out. If I lose the 800, I'll lose the 800. Hey, life goes on, right? And I think we get too nervous, and I'm partially to blame too, because it happens to me all the time. It happens to me all the time. But I think doing this video right now with you guys, I actually feel calm. I don't feel nervous. I don't feel like I'm about to get out of the trade or, let me take profit now while I have, get to break even, right? Cause I lost 400 on this account, when I did my early morning, my 8:30 strategy. And so I can easily say, you know what? If I make 800, I can get out the trade and not worry. But the reality is I got to let this trade play out. Look, and then now it's going into the negative, right? Someone could have said, oh, you were at 400. You should have just taken the profit there. Yeah, you're probably right. But the thing is, when you have a plan and you stick with it, that's what's going to make you more disciplined. If we just let emotions get the best of us, then we're never going to get to a point where, we can put on a trade and we can see it through. If you cannot see a trade through, win or lose, you're only making yourself a worse trader. And these are the traders that don't last long. So I truly believe that traders that last a long time, they learn to lose, not because they love losing, but because they know that their process worked. And once you're in a trade, it's 50-50, right? It can work or it cannot work. One or the other is going to work. And I feel good. I feel good knowing that I waited for that 5-minute candle to close, even though I took it like a few seconds before it closed, but I knew it was going to close because I couldn't see price go back up above that orb low, in like 10 seconds. I mean, I just couldn't see it. It was already going to close. So I got on the trade right there, and it was actually at a better area than if I would have waited till it closed, And so, but if this would have been me like a few weeks ago, I'm telling you, I would have saw this candle over here break. Like once this candle broke here, I probably would have gone in on that trade. Now, would that have been a bad thing? Not necessarily, because, well, actually, yes, it would have been bad, because look what happened. If I would have gotten in on this candle right here, right? If I would have gotten in right there and placed a 20 point, I guess what would have happened? Look at what happened here. What happened with this candle right here? I would have been stopped out. You see? Then I would have been really more upset. I would have been furious because I should have waited for my setup. You see, that's what Tom Hoger talks about, that the best losers win. Because even if I lose right now in this trade, okay, which I might, right? There's a very likelihood that I can lose. And I've already accepted the loss. I've accepted the loss. So if I lose $800. I lose 1,200 for the day. And now I'm only working with like $300 in that prop firm account in drawdown. So I'll probably have to move down to the micros contract in order to build that up again. And that's okay. I'll do that. But if I lose, I lost because that's just the way the market is. I don't want to lose because I made a stupid decision. And that's the point with trading with intentions, having clarity of your strategy. I already went over with you guys what my thought process was. That gave me clarity. I know that price has to come down to this fair value gap. There is an imbalance here. Look at this imbalance. There's an imbalance here that needs to be filled by the market. And so this is a magnet for price. Now, whether it does it now while I'm in the trade, or the trade right now can take me out and then come back all the way down. Look, it's okay. But you just know that I just know that price has to come down here. Okay. So that's my clarity. Discipline now. So right now, being in this trade, I have to be disciplined. I have to stay calm, ride this course, ride this roller coaster ride down to my to my take profit target. That's discipline. Okay. If you're going to go into a trade, play it out. The only time I would move my stop loss or, start messing around or maybe come out of a trade before is if I'm doing something completely different, right? I mentioned in one of my first videos that I plan to have a few prop accounts that I can play with, right? A few that I'm going to play conservative with and work my way up little by little. And then I want to have a prop account where I can do scalping and maybe take on a little bit more contracts for quick price action, right? So that means I'm going in and out of the market. And, that's one strategy. That's one way I want to build that account. And then another account is, letting the runners go, right? And so when I get to that account, if I'm in a trade like this, I probably won't have a take profit. I'll just move my stop at key levels to where, I can almost predict where price might not go to, and just keep moving it and moving it and moving it. Eventually, the stop will get hit. Eventually, I may get tired and say, you know what? I'm out of this trade. I want to go do something that I got to do. But look, right now it's 10:14. I usually just stop trading at around 11. That's when I stop. And, I truly think that that's a good way to, I started at around 8, stop at 11. That's 3 hours worth of work. I mean, look, you do this every day or a couple days a week or whatever the case is. And look, you can make a good living doing this. You can make a really good living. All right. So I see the sell side liquidity here. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that because it closed below that area of liquidity. So I cannot foresee price going above this price here. At least for right now. At least for right now. I cannot see price surpassing this area of liquidity right here. I don't foresee it. Right? I could be wrong, but just the way price has been moving right now for the last 15, 20 minutes, I don't see. So one could say, oh, I could move my stop now down here. No, I'm going to keep it the way it is because if I move it, I'm not being disciplined and I'm not, following my plan. Now, the last part of purpose, right? You got to have purpose. What is the purpose of this? Look, one day I hope to move to the Dominican Republic my wife and I lived there, and I just loved it. Her family is from there, and so I loved being in that area. I loved being with my, my in-laws. I have great in-laws. I have nephews, and I really love the life out there. And so I truly want to, oh man, look at this. I'm talking here and it's almost hit my take profit. You see, now is when I start to get a little antsy because I don't want to lose that profit. So I'm going to go ahead and, man, I'm not being disciplined here, guys. You know what? I'm going to stay disciplined. See, this is raw, unfiltered. I'm showing you guys the real deal. I'm just going to stay the course. Look, I literally felt like I should have just closed this position. It was right there at my take profit. Man, it was right there. It was right there. Don't you just hate that? I just hate that. I hate when that happens. But look, I'm staying calm and I'm letting this go down to my take profit. And this is where you kind of just have to be patient and just know that it'll all work out. And, wow, this is interesting. Getting a little nervous here, but, and this is real life, man. This is real life. I'm telling you, raw, unfiltered videos like this, it truly drives me insane when I see this. And I'm trying to keep myself accountable. You guys are keeping me accountable right now. So, I want to be an example. I want to be an example that, look, you can do this. You can, be disciplined, not let your emotions get the best of you. And there it is. Guys, I just took my profit for the day. Wow. What a ride that was. Thank you. Thank you for listening to me. Yeah, this is the way it goes, guys. Hope you stuck around this long. I'm going to put in, this information here. And, yeah, I mean, wow, I can't believe it. I started this channel just a few days ago. The reason why I started it was to make sure that I do want to be a source of encouragement for other people. And I started this channel a couple days ago with the intention that I can live through moments like this, where we can take on a trade no matter what our strategy is, and we can see it through. And look where price is heading now. Price has gone completely up. It hit that fair value gap, right? It hit the area of liquidity, and look at where it's going now, right? So now I see a potential, right? I'm not taking any more trades. I already took two trades is my max. But I see a potential. This is, a hammer, man. This is a John Wick candle. If you don't know what a John Wick candle is, you should look it up. But this is a big time buying, right? It hit that fair value gap, and look at where it's going now, right? So someone could easily take this trade right here, maybe take it up here somewhere. I don't know. Who knows, guys? Do what you need to do. But, yeah. So it was a privilege today to kind of go through this live trading. I can't do this every day, but I'm working from home, so I get to do this video live for you guys. During the week, I'll just have to, post and do analysis afterwards, like a recap. But yeah, man, this was, live trading at its best, and, look forward to seeing you guys next week. Yeah. I'm going to be soon posting links to these prop firms that I'm affiliated with. And yeah, man, get some money off, buy a couple, help support this channel. I really want to support other people and bring the real side of trading, not the Lambo fluff, junk that you see. This is real life, guys, and by a normal guy just like anybody else, right? I'm not a genius at this. I have my moments of doubts as well. But hey, as you can see, we can go through this together. We can do something good. So, alright guys, look forward to seeing you on the next one. Peace.